I'm Lucas Siegel for Newsarama.com, and we are here with Blaine Christine, the senior live producer, not dead one, for Star Wars: The Old Republic. How you doing, Blaine?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
Not too bad. So you guys are coming fast and furious with game updates for Star Wars: The Old Republic. You are not letting up, and 1.3 is on the public test server now, right?
That's right. It went live actually this morning, so good timing right around E3.
Are you kind of pulling out your hair having something like that going onto the test server while you're here trying to show off and talk about what's to come?
Well, the good news is by the time it gets there, it's in pretty decent shape. So the difficult part is actually what comes in the weeks ahead of that. And then, of course, listening to feedback now that it's on the public test server as well. And I've got a great team supporting me.
So what are some of the things that people can look forward to here in 1.3?
So 1.3 is a great update. It introduces some new perks to the Legacy system. So Legacy went live with 1.2, but it's just adding more customization options for people that have Legacy characters. In addition to that, we're adding our group finder and our long-awaited ranked player versus player war zones, a new adaptive social gear system. And for people that are wondering what that means, basically it means players can look the way that they want. If you want to dress up as a, for instance, sand person and run through the snowfields of Hoth, all while being geared up and ready for PvP, you can do that. And then last but not least, a new augmentation system, which allows players to further customize their gear. Also some cool new juicy stuff for crafters.
With the new group finder and the new social elements, it seems like where initially this was all about making an MMO that could also be a great single player experience, now it seems like you guys are shifting focus a little bit towards the group and social experience more, is that right?
Not necessarily shifting focus. I mean, for us, it's always been trying to support all the different play styles that people are going to come into the game with, right? So knowing that we're a story-driven game, we know single player is important to Bioware fans. We've always made sure that we wanted to support from day one, and I think we have a social experience, so we're just continuing to build on that.
What is the overall focus now that you guys are 6 months into the game? Are you focused on just tweaking, or how much are you trying to really push the limits of what can be done in an MMO?
No, we absolutely want to continue to deliver on key new features and new content that's exciting to our players, which means we will continue to push the boundaries of what we do with those types of features. I think Legacy is a good example of that, and also our ranked war zones is like we want to keep adding more to the game. It's not just about putting out more of the same. We want to continue to expand on it to make sure that the players have a lot of great content and features to continue to chew on for years to come.
I think one of the announcements here this week that people are probably most excited for, especially Star Wars fans, is the new companion character. We have a new HK assassin droid. What brought HK51 into the series, and talk about how he's organically coming into the storyline.
Sure, so obviously fans of Knights of the Old Republic are familiar with the hunter-killer droid HK47 from Knights of the Old Republic, always one of the favorite companion characters from the series. We knew even before launch we wanted to make sure that he was somehow a figure in our world as well, and he's a droid, so even though we're a few hundred years after, that would have been possible. But ultimately we chose to sort of go a different direction and make sure that he was available to both factions. So there's a series of missions where players go through to ultimately unlock the blueprint for this new droid, HK51. Of course, he's got new personality programming, which means cool new jokes he's going to tell as he's your sidekick by your side, usually very dark humor for those who may not be familiar with the HK47, and he's also very deadly.
What do the other companions think about this character coming in and stealing their limelight?
That's a great question. I guess we'll be watching the data to see what the uptick is like when HK comes in and see if people are still using Mako and some of the other cool Chemval and Blizz, my personal favorite, once he comes out.
What are you doing right now to encourage people to continue to develop new characters and try out some of the other classes if maybe they've been just really focused on their, single Sith warrior for a long time? What continues to open the game up?
Yeah, so for us, I think the Legacy system was a big part of that. I mean, we want to encourage players to experience the storylines of all 8 classes because those stories are so unique to each class.
Right.
And so we're just doing everything we can, as you said, to sort of encourage people to go check that stuff out. I think Legacy is a big step in that direction. but I think it's also just a natural tendency of players to want to have alts and build them up. Hopefully their alts in our game are more intriguing because of the companion characters, the story, cool abilities, Star Wars combat, all that good stuff.
Now you guys seem to understand the gamer mentality, and you didn't just come with what's immediately next, but what's next. Let's talk a little bit about what's to come over the next year here of Star Wars The Old Republic. We have new planet, we have new Warzone. Why show off so much so soon?
I think it's important for people to realize how much we have done to change the Old Republic in the 6 months since launch, and more importantly to understand that we intend to keep up that pace. So our message here is really about look at everything that we've done thus far. We've had some huge updates. Again, new features, not just new content, but new content as well. We want to make sure we support all gameplay styles. So if people are into PvP, as you mentioned, there's a new Warzone in development. For high-level folks, we've got a new retooled Nightmare mode, which is going to offer new content and gameplay mechanics in addition to an additional challenge. We've got a new operation in development, so people who like to do that our high-end operations, brand new one coming, really cool, called the Terror from Beyond on the planet of Asation. And then we also we're talking about our new planet of Makeb. Makeb, vast new world to explore, hours of new story content for both of our factions. So again, the message is all about we are continuing to deliver tons of content and features in the months and years to come for the Old Republic.
Is there any one thing that's a personal focus for you that you're hoping to continue to improve in Old Republic?
That's a great question. I think for us, my personal role, the focus is on maintaining the service. So we're very proud of the fact that we had an extremely smooth launch and that we continue to have a very solid, stable service. Like, we don't bring down the servers when people aren't expecting it very often, if at all, recently. And so it's all about making sure that we maintain that. We bring the servers down as little as possible, but still make sure that we're listening to customers' needs, fixing any bugs that may be seen in the game, and ultimately making sure that the whole purpose of public test, as we're doing now with Game Update 1.3, get it out there, make sure that new update is in good shape before we introduce it to the entire service.
So you've talked about PvP and expanding the options of where to do PvP. You're wearing a Huttball Championship shirt here. How about new options of styles of PvP? Any possibility of new gameplay styles for more along the lines of Huttball, things like that?
Certainly, we're always looking at things like that. We're not announcing details about the new PvP Warzone that we're introducing, but I will say that we've got a very large sub-team within our team just solely focused on PvP, and so that's always going to be something that's very important to us in terms of development and will be continued to be supported, always looking at new mechanics, new possibilities for PvP.
For new incoming players, you're giving them all the way up to level 15 for free starting in July. How about for the return players? For the players that may have dropped off, may have got sucked into the world of, say, Bioware's own Mass Effect 3, or moved on into other games and dropped out of the world a little bit, what are you doing specifically to try to entice them to come back and give this world another shot?
Well, certainly the hope is that every game update, that's part of the point, right, is not just existing players, but to sort of get the word out like we're doing right now and saying, look at how much we're doing. If you have left, please come back because we're continuing to evolve the game while you're away. I think that's the biggest thing. Also, when we released Game Update 1.2, we did give a large number of players who had been with us for a while an entire free month, because we wanted them to come check out that new game update and make sure that they got a taste of it.
Especially if this has changed at all for you over the course of the last 6 months, what kind of things are still surprising you, whether it's gamer feedback or just a feature that you found yourself enjoying more than maybe you thought you would?
Sure. I think that for me, day to day, it's just about listening to the community. So it's like I literally work hand in hand with the community team, and having them come in and tell me about what the players are doing, what they are wanting, is always exciting to me, and sort of reinforces the value that we bring with Star Wars: The Old Republic.
And of all the new features that you guys are discussing this week, what what's your personal favorite? What are you just really excited to get into the hands of Old Republic gamers?
Well, I gotta say, HK51, man, because from Knights of the Old Republic, I loved HK47. Like, that was probably my favorite moment from the original game, was unlocking him, so I'm really excited to see him in game and see others of him running around, so it's great stuff.
Which of your characters is going to get HK first?
Well, my main is my Marauder,
Okay.
so yeah, that will be the one that gets HK first.
All right, very cool. Thank you so much, and thank you. Stay tuned for much more from E3 2012.